Tolman's a former federal prosecutor, and Chris Swecker, former FBI assistant director and former special agent. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Brett, to you first. We got the charges, we've got the planning, we've got the missed opportunities, and the list just grows by the day, Brett.
You know, Bill, it's devastating. It's something that we suffer through and painfully as a community and as a country. The thing that strikes me, though, and I know that there are prosecutors like myself and, you know, law enforcement officers like Chris and others, we know that it's impossible to stop all crime prior to it happening. It's especially tragic here when you think about the number of gun laws that applied. This is one of the strictest areas of the country in terms of gaining possession of firearms, the use of firearms. The red flag laws were not triggered. I think it sends a very strong message that we cannot rely on legislation to answer all of the problems and the ills that are facing the gun issue in this country and the use of a firearm by those that have mental issues.
Chris, it is rare when you see a case with more violent tendencies. The track record is clear and obvious and now public.
Yeah, Bill, red flag on top of red flag on top of red flag. His violent posts at a forum that hosts photos of violence and all, you know, that's dedicated to those types of postings. 2 visits or 2 official, you know, police calls to his house, one for a suicide attempt, another for a threat to kill his entire family. He had an incident at a synagogue where he showed up and the rabbi was very suspicious of him. He didn't belong there. Here's the issue, Bill. The police backed off and because the parents didn't want to file a complaint. They don't have to wait for the parents to file a complaint, especially under the Illinois gun law. A law enforcement officer can take that and go to a magistrate or go to the circuit court and make a showing that there's an immediate danger to himself or others and get the restraining order. In this case, you know, the people talk about him getting an FOID, firearms ID in Illinois. Well, this was a case of preventing him from ever getting one in the first place. And let's look at the parents. The parents, knowing these incidents happen and the dad goes in and sponsors him 5 times to buy a weapon, probably lying on the application because there is a question about having been treated for mental disorders and that sort of thing. So I mean, if ever there was a case that was preventable, this is it.
Yeah, but you're saying that if you don't have a solid witness, in this case the parents, Chris, the police back off?
No, I'm saying they should not back off. They can be a witness. This is almost like a domestic violence situation where the laws say, you know, you don't have to have a victim sign a complaint. They can go to a magistrate, they can go to the circuit court, they can file their own complaint. Now, if the witness doesn't show up in court, that's one thing. But that's with respect to criminal charges. But if they can still use the red flag gun law, which I fear is a law that's on the books to make people feel good but doesn't get used.
Brett, when you think about this, did anyone do their job? Think about the police and the parents and the community and all of it. And the gun law that was passed 2 weeks ago, I don't think there is anything in there that would have prevented this 21-year-old from doing what he wanted to do eventually.
Bill, you hit the issue that is so important in this country. We need to stop, you know, passing laws that make us feel good. I think Chris is right on that. I think we do things in this country at the, you know, emotional responses about anecdotal cases instead of really looking at the hard, tough issues. Here, the family had an obligation. Local law enforcement had an obligation. There are red flag laws in place. Communication could have been made to the NICS database that would have flagged him so that he couldn't purchase the firearm in the first place, but they have to do their job in order for that to happen. You know, it reminds me, Bill, of when we saw prior to 9/11, we had all the information available to us to stop that. But what we didn't have is proper communication. We still need that at a state and local level as well. That communication between law enforcement, between our community, and between the folks that regulate these firearms in this state. If that communication occurs, he doesn't get these guns, and these victims are alive today.
Gentlemen, thank you. Brett Tolman, Chris Swecker. More coming up later today. We'll see what happens with that court appearance in Illinois. Thank you, gentlemen. Got some breaking news again. Richmond